And now, another episode of MMA Gossip with your boys.
Hate that.
Boom. Recording in progress. I don't know if you guys will hear that. Didn't show up in the audio last week, so let's get this money. Anyways, MMA Gossip, we're back. Episode number 69. I don't know if that's like really what a 69 looks like, but hey, let's get it. Boys are back at MMA X Gossip on all platforms. We got a lot to talk about this week. We say it all the time. The world of MMA never, ever sleeps. And this week is just, on steroids. PFL 4 tonight, Thursday. Bellator 260 tomorrow, Friday. UFC 263 Saturday. Logan Paul and Floyd Mayweather actually happened this past Sunday. So we got action every fucking day of the week in the world of MMA. Like I said, never stops. I'll be breaking down Bellator. Mikey PFL will be going off on PFL. We'll all be shooting the shit about UFC 263, Floyd Mayweather, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, Tyron Woodley, all the news you want to hear. Hill and Paul Craig going back and forth, Vittoria Adesanya going back and forth, and then not so much in person. It is what it is. I'm in my parents' house, as you can tell. We have like the 1970s wired phone. Mikey, congratulations to him, is in his new house. Matt is still jerking it in his parents' bedroom. But
the shed.
With that being said, like, comment, subscribe. Thank you very much for doing so. Help the boys out. And without further ado, Mike will take us away.
All right, let's start in the past real quick. We'll talk about the UFC event last week really quick, the top two fights and how the heavyweight picture kind of looks, and then we'll talk about Mayweather and the circus that was Mayweather and Logan Paul. So we got Tybura beat Walt Harris. I mean, kind of bummer, but he's on a 5-fight win streak somehow. And then the main event, you had Rosenstruck KO Augusto Sakai in the main event in the first round, the last second. And then you got Gane and Volkov fighting on June 26th. So heavyweight picture, guys. Who do you guys think is going to be next for Francis Ngannou based on what's going on right now? I think Gane is going to win. I think Gane's going to get the shot, but
I don't think it matters, but I guess Gane. I'm still not impressed with him. I know it sounds crazy. There's still nothing that excites me about Gane. He's uber technical. He's good everywhere. He's really good everywhere. I don't know what it is about him. He's just, maybe because he's fighting at heavyweight and he's not really knocking people on their ass like everybody else does. But I mean, next though technically is Derek Lewis. No, that's like a thing probably.
True. Yeah, heavyweight picture is pretty all over the place right now.
Yeah, Tybura's win streak makes just about as much sense as Lauren Murphy, so I don't put any stock into that one.
Dude, you're the biggest Tybura hater. Every time I make one of my picks, you somehow fucking talk me out of it.
I just think he sucks.
You fucking asshole. You always talk me out of it. But yeah, it's crazy. Because heavyweight, we always say anything can happen, and this seems like literally anything can happen at heavyweight. Except when you fight Francis Ngannou, you're going to get knocked out. And that's pretty much just a given at this point. So I really don't think it matters. I honestly think Derek Lewis has the best chance of anyone right now. Like anyone. He eats big shots and he delivers big fucking shots. And I think if Francis comes down with his hands down the way he has against other people, Derek Lewis could put anyone in the world to sleep like he just did to his carjacker. That picture is fucking hilarious. He's getting taken away by the police. He's got a bandage on his head. And the report was that Derek literally knocked his ass out for Roberts trying to steal his car. But yeah, I don't really think it matters. I think Ngannou is just going to be end still for at least a few more fights.
Yeah, I can't. I just can't picture him ever going limp, like Francis. I mean, it doesn't look like something that should ever happen to somebody that looks like that. It looks like he should be doing it to everybody else, and he has been. And I think I think that if he fights Derek Lewis, I think he takes his fucking head off. I think he wants to avenge that stupid loss when he was in that mental lull after losing to Stipe. He really kind of lost himself there for a bit. And I'm excited. I like the top of heavyweight right now, and it's interesting for the first time in a while. It's not a bunch of 100-year-old men fighting each other anymore.
Yeah, definitely most interesting it's been in a long time.
100-year-old men. Overeem is now in glory.
Yeah, props. Hey. Dude never dies. I don't think he'll ever retire until he's either in comatose or dead, So moving on, Mayweather, I guess you can say defeated Logan Paul, even though it was an exhibition match, it went all the distance. There was no judges. People paid $45 for it.
Jake Paul screaming in the crowd that Mayweather's 50-1 like a fucking idiot.
I didn't watch it, and so Matt, I know you did. Any thoughts on anything about it?
Dude, the only way you could sum up that fight is if you have just a sliver of your brain left, you know what was going on there. Mayweather was like laughing the whole time. Like there was nothing serious about it. Like Jake Paul, I get it. You're yelling. It's your brother. He's in there with Mayweather. They're all pumped up about it. He's like, yo, this is your career. Like, no, dude. Like there wasn't even any judges. He spent 80% of the fight hugging him. That whole narrative that you guys probably saw was not overblown at all. He just kept wrapping Floyd up. Floyd won. Logan realistically did win the first round, but who can win? There was no judges, and he didn't do anything. Floyd just managed to do less because he was dancing around the ring. I don't put any stock in it. Like Chris always says, though, I'm in my parents' bedroom smoking pot in the shed. They're making billions and billions of dollars for circus acts. I'm not one to talk. I'd cut my whole dick off to be in either one of their shoes. So I'm not one to judge. And I kind of like Logan Paul. I don't mind him. I think Jake's I was going to say the other word. I think Jake's a fucking idiot. But, I've always kind of liked Mayweather. I've always liked Logan Paul. So it is what it is. Good for them.
Yeah, that fight is so stupid. Like, Floyd Mayweather legitimately, he basically told Luke Thomas and Brian Campbell that when they interviewed him, because there was Luke Thomas said, he's like, a little birdie told me that you only trained 50, 60% for the Mayweather fight. And a little birdie told me that you have not trained for this fight. And Floyd Mayweather started laughing. He goes, listen, man, we're just trying to put on a show for the fans, blah, blah. This is entertainment. He literally just came off the couch and sparred Logan Paul. Basically said in the post-fight interview that it was gentlemanly. They weren't going on. He wasn't going 100%. And I mean, I'm not saying Father Time caught up to Mayweather, but he's 44 years old. He looked slower. He got hit by punches that would never, ever hit him. Logan Paul was trying 10,000% and still was only hugging for 75, 80% of the fight. Like I said, I'm gonna be honest, I did not watch it. I definitely was not paying for it, and I didn't care enough to stream it. This is the one time where it's the hipster MMA cool thing to say, oh, I don't care about it, I'm not gonna watch. Bro, Matt texted me. He was like, are you watching this? I sent him a picture. I was smoking a beer and having a cigar. My girlfriend's family was chilling, having a great time, not worried about a thing. You know what I mean? So I was on the beach, not watching that fucking fight. I checked my phone. And I said, okay, they're coming out now. I looked again, and they were the 8th round's about to start. And I was like, what a fucking joke. And then I looked back 5 minutes later and saw, the fight ended and it's a tie. I'm like, that's so fucking disgusting. You know what I mean?
Chad Ochocinco getting obliterated was the funniest shit I've ever seen, dude. He went flying.
Yeah, well, at least he fought someone that actually fights and survived. That was an actual fight, though.
Yeah, an actual fight.
I mean, Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul is just I think it's Russian bots, because who the fuck really spent $45 to watch it? My favorite part of the whole thing was when the final bell rang, they both put their hands up in the air, and everyone in the crowd started booing.
And I have no comment on the fight itself other than the quote from Mayweather. When it comes to legalized bank robbing, I'm the best. And that's what it comes down to. He made all this money and we're all idiots. So moving on, got PFL tonight. A couple awesome matchups that I really think we should highlight real quick. So we got Chris Wade going up against Arman Aspanov. I think Arman Aspanov is going to beat his ass because Chris Wade is just not that good.
Thanks.
I think there's a little bit of value there. Shaman Marias, UFC vet, fighting late notice replacement Jesse Stern. Bet the underdog. Shaman Marias is a shell of himself. 2 UFC vets, Marcin Held and Olivier Aubin Mercier. Marcin Held all the way. I think his offensive grappling is going to take it away from Mercier, and I think Mercier kind of is at an all-time low in his confidence because he got released from the UFC, and he just had what is not that good, in my opinion.
I'm gonna interject here too on this one, Mike. I think Held in his last fight too, his stand-up looked like the best it's ever looked, in my opinion. He was really fucking crisp, really good. He's so much so he really didn't even care to get the fight to the ground. He's
a great grappler. So I think there's value there, but I think it's -150, -140.
Right now it is Yeah, it's all over between 140 and 150.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I think that's a good price.
Yep, I agree.
Coming off that awesome performance in his PFL debut, he's going up against Tyler Diamond. He's a minus 300 favorite, but this is the fight of the night, people. If you want to watch one fight, it is the Brendan Loughnane fight and versus Tyler Diamond. I think it's going to be a barn burner. I think it's going 3 rounds. I think it's going to be explosive. And the value, I think, is Tyler Diamond, but I got to pick Loughnane. He looks unstoppable right now, and I want to see him go all the way.
It's a shame he's not in the UFC.
Yeah, it's a shame, bro. It's such a shame. That he was on the Contender Series, right?
Yeah, and he won a decision, and Dana White says we don't want to hire someone that there's something personal there. There's a reason he doesn't want to sign him because it was a travesty, and everyone was calling for Brendan to get the shot. Dana gave him the Contender Series shot, almost like out of pity. He won the fight, and then in the 3rd round, he had his opponent hurt and just didn't finish him. He just, the fight ended before he could get the finish, and Dana was all butthurt about that and didn't sign him.
Yeah, Dana definitely holds grudges to a certain extent, and I don't blame him. I mean, we all do. We're all human beings, but it is a shame he's not in the UFC, man. He's so fucking good.
Mike, what do you think happens with Nathan? You think he rebounds? Odds suggest.
Yeah, I guess so. I really don't know much about his opponent, but I do think he rebounds here 100%.
It was so crazy. Like that fight, all the UFC guys, all the PFL guys were losing to the UFC guys. Now, I'm curious to see how a lot of them bounce back. I mean, Clay Collard is technically both sides of the fence there, and he's on this card, but interesting to see how he bounces back because he's one of the better ones in PFL, if I'm correct, right? Like I just got into PFL when it started up again this year, but he's one of like the top fighters for them, isn't he?
You say Clay Collard?
No, Schultz.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, look at the odds, right? What are they, Matt?
Oh, he's minus 325, but even against Held, he was a big favorite.
Yeah. It's definitely been interesting how it goes down. I think, honestly, if you bet every underdog on the PFL card, I think you're going to walk away with money. I think the line.
Held was his first loss since 2017. He was on a streak before that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, he won I think back-to-back seasons for PFL at lightweight, so he was like their golden boy.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, Chris. That's what I was saying. Like he was like the guy to beat, and then Held came in and fucking beat him.
Which makes it so strange that he's only Held is only a minus 150 over Mercier. It's a strange line. I don't know if it's a trap line or not, but
yeah, it is sketch. What about Bobby Moffett? It's another UFC. Again,
Bobby Moffett sucks.
He does suck.
He sucks, and Bubba Jenkins is probably going to run through him. Bellator vet over here. I don't think Bubba Jenkins is great by any means, but I do think he's going to win here. This is interesting. You got Clay Collard, right? The guy that plus 100 against Anthony Pettis. Matt lost all his fucking money on it. He's a big favorite here against, I can't even pronounce his name, Joelton Lutterback, but he's 39. He's a young kid. For Clay Collard to be a massive favorite, and he's pretty much a boxer with no ground game going up against this young kid, I think it's a little strange there. So I put the value on the young kid there. And then here we go, main event, kind of a shit show. We got Brittany Elkin, 3-6, going up against Clarissa Shields. And this is where shit gets interesting because she opened up like a plus 500, like huge underdog. Now she's only like a plus 190. So it just goes to show like one takedown and the fight could be, done shortly after. And interestingly enough, I put 100 on the underdog when she was plus 375. And I cashed out and made a little bit of money because I don't think the PFL would set up a fight for Clarissa Shields to lose in her first bout. And I'm not going to back a 3-6 fighter here. So if you got Clarissa Shields, I think best value you're going to get right now is like minus 240. And I think she's going to knock this girl out. I think it's knock her out in less than a minute. I will fade Shields later on. I don't think she'll make it past the second round. If God forbid she makes it all the way and fights Kayla Harrison, God bless. But I think that she wins here in a pretty devastating fashion against this nobody.
Props to her, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Props.
World champion, Olympic level boxer, finally making the transit. Not finally, I shouldn't say that, but you know what I mean? Like one of them with a big enough ball sack, even though she does not have a ball sack that we know of.
She's a thick girl, and I think she's beat the shit out of this girl. But that's it for PFL. Bellator, Chrissy Bellator, take it away. Tomorrow night, we got a stacked lineup.
Yes, we do indeed. Bellator 260 is going down in where else but Uncasville, Connecticut, baby. Mohegan Sun. Bellator does their thing. I say it all the time. They got something good going on there, so keep the train rolling. Bellator 260 will be headlined by Douglas Lima taking on Yaroslav Amosov. Amosov is literally our age, which is so wild because he's 25-0 in MMA, and he's got he has a sambo background, amazing grappling, clearly beating guys like Logan Storley and Ed Ruth, in grappling exchanges, which is nutty. And he can strike too. I think he's got like 9 or 10 knockout wins on his record, taking on Douglas Lima, who is, probably definitely top 3 best Bellator fighters ever. Douglas Lima's fought a who's who, Rory McDonald multiple times, Ben Asher, all these guys. And his takedown defense is incredible. Obviously, against Gegard Mousasi, just fighting the bigger guy didn't work out so well for him. But Gegard was fighting at light heavyweight and heavyweight and has a win over fucking Mark Hunt, for God's sakes. So Douglas Lima, insane takedown defense. Is it enough to stop Amosov? We're going to see. I saw yesterday, the day before, the line was much closer than I thought. I think Amosov was pretty much just about even money. And it's pretty crazy. They're putting a lot of stock into this kid, and he's very fucking good. So deservedly so. We shall see. I know MVP is praying Lima wins because he's trying to get that rematch back bad. Co-main event, we have Bellator called.
I want to pick there. That line's too close for you to not make a pick. I was curious.
I think I'm going to ride with Douglas Lima on this one. It's a close line. It almost seems like you said, the trap line. I just think that his takedown defense is so fucking good. The best wrestlers, best grapplers in the world have tried to take him down and hold him down. They can't hold him down. And I think his kickboxing, I think if he keep the fight standing, especially over like 2-3 rounds, it's going to make a big difference. What do you think? You have a take on it?
I already put 50. I'm not going to lie. I put 50 on Amosov. I just takedown threat is there. And I don't know. I'm honestly just betting it because I think that eventually he's going to lose that 70-pound strap.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's a degenerate bet. I have no backing to it. I think Amosov is awesome. I'm not going to lie. I think he's a great fucking fighter. Definitely top 3. So we'll see. I think it's going to be a bomb fight. Honestly, top 3 fights of the week, top 3 or 4 fights of the weekend. I'm looking forward to this one.
I think this is there's no fight this week, honestly, over the UFC, the middleweight belt. I'm looking forward to this more, seriously. It's cool. This is literally what Scott Coker always said he had envisioned for Bellator, was put on those UFC retirement home fights and then have fights like this with pretty much homegrown Bellator guys, which is fucking sweet. Co-main event is what Bellator calls contract weight fights, not catch weight. Contract. Matt with a big smile on his face. Contract weight fights. Co-main event, Paul Daly, who has come out of retirement for seemingly the 15th time, to take on the surging Jason Jackson out of Sanford 365. He's looked real good in his past couple fights, beating Neiman Gracie, who I know Matt's all but heard about because he bet on Neiman Gracie. Benson Henderson prior to that, has been on somewhat of a roll. Paul Daly looked like, in a classic Paul Daly fight in his last outing. Seems like he's coming back kind of soon after getting, hit so many times in his previous outing. But Paul Daly coming in here like a sizable underdog when because me, I usually don't look at the lines, but I was really curious to see the Lima Amosov line. So I got a little sneak peek at some of these. And Daly coming in a sizable underdog, and I think rightfully so. Jason Jackson's a big boy, Stanford 365, like I said. So his striking is on point. And I think Paul Daly, he's just up there in age. He's got over like 60 professional fights, which is fucking insane. He got wobbled a bunch of times in his last fight. And I think that Bellator's trying to put Jason Jackson over on this one. What do you guys think?
It pains me to say it, but I do agree. I don't know. I'd probably bet on Daly just because I'm fucking sick of Jason Jackson losing me money. So I don't know why. I with my luck, I would bet on Jason Jackson and he would get put through the cage. So I'd rather at least bet on plus money.
I think Jason Jackson's going to run through him, man. We saw it in the last fight with Paul Daly, man. He got rocked. He got dropped. It didn't look good for him. Granted, he showed tremendous heart and came back. And, dude, what a shit show of a fight. But, no, I think Paul Daly's way past his prime. I think Jason Jackson's right at the right time, and the UFC wants to build him into something. And I think he's capable of, being a top 3 guy. And Daly's a thing of the past at this point. God bless him. Love him. But, yeah, thing of the past.
Fair.
Mike, I always, whenever I watch our podcast back, when I watch it on YouTube, I always look. So you said that UFC is trying to push him. But obviously, you meant Bellator. But
Right.
I always think, because I always make fun of Brendan Schaub and all these guys that say shit on the podcast, and then I watch back sometimes. Some of the things I say, I'm like, why the fuck did I say that? You know what? It's weird when we get bigger. One time, Borachina Depot on Twitter is going to start putting up some of our videos. But anyway, the featured fight of the main card is Aaron Pico making his return. You know, he caught COVID 257, so this fight was rebooked for this card. He's taking on Aiden Lee, who, like you, no one else on planet Earth has heard of. Aaron Pico obviously being put in this position to win. Aiden Lee looking to build a name for himself with a win. Aaron Pico just fighting lower level competition, get some wins under his belt. Again, he's only 24 years old. He's Ali Abdelaziz is his manager now. He's training at Jackson Wink, and just he's looking to put the pieces back together. You know, he jumped right into the fire, and now they're kind of rebuilding him up slowly, and it seems to be paying off. This is a place he's minus God knows what, and he's definitely going to fucking win. He's finally mixing takedowns into his game, so he's going to fucking win. Next up, Vanessa Porto, who Bellator is pretty high on, ex-Invicta champ, coming in, taking on Ilara Joanne, 1-1 in Bellator. I remember her knee bar win over Mrs. OnlyFans herself, Beck Rawlings. And this is 100, I don't know if I said this, but this is a 128-pound, again, contract weight fight because it's booked on short notice. I think Porto rolls here. Not much else to say about that. They're both kind of and I think she's going to roll. Another Jackson fighting out of Sanford MMA, DeMarquez Jackson is taking on Mark Lemminger. Lemminger, obviously a great wrestler. Marquez has great striking. This is just a solid fight. You know, nothing crazy coming from either way. DeMarquez is looking to make a name for himself, and that wraps up the main card. Headlining the prelims, which I think is an awesome fucking fight. Kyle Crutchmer taking on Levin Chokelly. Chokelly has fought legitimately fucking no one. Crutchmer is obviously two-time All-American, NCAA All-American wrestler. Putting together pretty well in MMA, 6-1 record, not doing too shabby. Next up is Matt's favorite Bellator fighter, Taiwan Air Claxton, taking on Justin Gonzalez. Justin Gonzalez coming in 11-0 and is actually the favorite last I saw, but the line's been going back and forth. I think it's pretty fucking even. Taiwan Claxton literally is not that good. We pretty much know his ceiling. He came in, had that insane flying knee knockout, got his nickname Air, super athletic, and that's pretty much it. He doesn't mix it up that well. I don't know. I feel like we somewhat saw his ceiling, and that's why he went from the main card to now middle of the prelims. Maybe it means something. Matt, you have any takes on this fight?
He still beat JJ Wilson. I don't care what anybody says.
Dude, that was my parlay of the century, and it fucked me. I'm literally not letting that one go. He was the only favorite I had. I picked all dogs and Taiwan Claxton, and one big favorite, and he absolutely fucked me.
3 worst decision losses I've had. Easy.
Yeah, that was bad. But Justin Gonzalez is actually pretty good. He was on Dana White's Contender Series. He won by decision and ended up not getting a contract. And then I forget who he was booked against. And that person got called up to the UFC. So he's clearly just about there, and they want to see how good he is. So I could totally see him coming in here and getting the win over Taiwan Claxton, you know, a Bellator vet, and establishing a name for himself. Then Nick Newell. We've talked about him, you know, ad nauseum on this podcast. Great fucking dude. Again, we all met him in person. Awesome to us. Awesome pretty much to everyone. He's an awesome follow on Instagram too, by the way. The memes he posts are every day are fucking hilarious. Great personality. Another person coming out of retirement and just kind of still doing it. It's taking on Bobby King, who, again, not many people know about. Newell, when I looked at the lines, look at me knowing some of the lines today, guys, for once. I saw he opened as a pretty sizable favorite, and since has the lines closed a bit, he's still a little bit of a favorite. I don't know if I wrote it down. No, I did not. But I think here, this is just another one. Nick Newell kind of, you know, a little bit over the hill, getting older, retired in like 2017 or 18, made a little bit of a comeback, and just kind of still doing the thing. So I think that's why the line's close. But I really think he should roll here and beat Bobby King. This is a great fight, Bellator-wise. Lucas Skywalker Brennan taking on Matthew Skibicki. Skibicki's 4-3. Lucas Skywalker Brennan is 4-0. All 4 wins from Bellator. He is a massive favorite in this card. You guys got to look him up. He is so weird looking, and you'll recognize him when you see him if you don't know who he is already. I think this is at, I want to say lightweight, but yeah, again, he's 4-0 in Bellator, homegrown guy, and they're really looking forward to him. I think the line here is like -800 or higher. He is absolutely going to roll here. And I'm interested to see it. Bellator's putting this guy in a position. Knowing Bellator, he's going to fucking lose. But they're putting him in a position to win, get another, add another, put that 5-0 next to him. And this, like I said, in Bellator. So good for him. Next up, Amanda Bell taking on Marina Malkanakina. No one gives a fuck about this fight. Legit nobody. Literally fucking nobody. Nobody. Next. Alex Polizzi taking on Gustavo. What?
I got to bet on Gustavo.
Do you?
Yeah, I think Polizzi kind of sucks, low-key.
Dude, he really got put on the map. He got a couple signature wins, and then he beat Rafael Cavallo, which I was pretty surprised about. I was like, damn, I didn't see that coming. And right before that, he had another win right before that. Who the fuck did he beat, Mike?
I remember him beating. I bet on him against Carvalho because of takedowns. But then he fought somebody. He fought that really big juice guy with the bald head.
He beat someone of no. Like I was like, oh fuck, I didn't see that coming. I don't think anyone did. And then he kind of got somewhat of a name for himself, and then beat Cavallo, and then hit a roadblock, and it was kind of like, oh, I guess that's his ceiling then.
Julius Anglicus is the one he lost to.
That's who he lost to.
And he was in LFA prior to the Carvalho fight. So the Carvalho fight was his debut.
Yeah. It was okay. Well, I was surprised to see him maul him then. But yeah, that is Bellator 260, guys. I'm fucking really excited for it, as I always am for Bellator. And I love the fact that it starts at 6 p.m. and the main card is on by 9. That 1 hour difference makes such a major fucking difference. And the title fight is going to be awesome. I'm going to be tuned in, watching, just wetting my lips for UFC 263 on Saturday.
You're 1:30 before fucking Adesanya walks out.
Dude, I'm telling you, I'm more excited for this fight than I am that fight.
I agree, man. I agree. We'll talk about it when we get there, but I'm actually not like that pumped about the main event, the UFC.
Dude, I'm over. I never really was, and you guys give me credit. I mean, not that what I care. I've never been on the Adesanya train. I always think he's cringy and he tries way too hard. I get how good he is. Like the feint stuff is all good and well, but it's just like, I don't know. People gravitate towards me. He's got the it factor. He beats people, but then it's like he had a couple going to the title. He's winning decisions. Went to just 5 rounds with Brad Tavares, and then knocks out Brunson. It's like, okay, we got something here. You know what I mean? And goes in there and does what he did to Kelvin Gastelum. That fight was sick, but Kelvin Gastelum's been on a straight downward trajectory. Before that, basically, and then knocks out Whitaker. Awesome. Then sleeper against Yoel. Fucking his last fight with Jan loses. No excitement in that fight. So I'm kind of like, I don't know. And
Put out Costa too.
The Costa fight was sweet. But
I think he's been a solid champion though. Like in terms of actually being active and defending his belt. I'm not taking that away from him. It just seems like I think people are gonna realize after this card, because I'm not being a hater or Debbie Downer. This is not going to sell at all. The card or the fight? Well, either. I don't know, man. I think this card sells a lot. It's loaded. Even if you don't like that fight, I think the people that will buy this card just for Nate Diaz.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I forgot.
Yeah.
And Nate Diaz is definitely getting pay-per-view points for this. You think so, Chris?
100%. It's 5 rounds.
Yeah.
Right, 5 rounds. Okay. Yeah, I forgot. Honestly, yeah, Nate Diaz is the needle mover on this card.
Wait, why is that fight 5 rounds?
Because Nate Diaz is Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
No, this card's going till 6 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
No, I think Nate Diaz is going to get put out by a knockout or ground and pound or something because
my fucking boy, Leon Edwards, baby. I can't believe I like him now.
I was gonna say Matt's fucking boy. Oh my, this fucking kid is the funniest boys.
Because
I'm done with Oliveira was his boy forever. He's been telling people for years, but his mortal lock was Will Brooks 3 years ago.
Yeah, let's go through this card. There's a lot to talk about. Oh,
All right. So looking at this card,
want to start with start from the bottom up.
I don't really want to talk about Jake Collier.
No, I was gonna say I was looking at the fucking Chase Hooper Steve Peterson fight. What do we think? We see an evolution out of Chase Hooper yet, or just more of the same?
Listen, I got a hot take about this fight, man. I think Steven Peterson is so fucking bad at fighting. He's just good. He's good at taking punishment and keep going forward. But he's awful, dude. He's not good at all. Granted, he's never been submitted, which is Chase Hooper's, forte. But like, listen, I wouldn't be surprised if Chase Hooper leveled up even this little bit and was able to literally outstrike him because Steven Peterson sucks.
I don't think I don't think he'll get him to the ground. Chase Hooper's takedowns suck.
Yeah, he was working with Ben Askren.
True.
I
would like to see something, but it's so hard to bet on that kid, man. He is green.
He is. Yeah, that's one thing. Steven Peterson's definitely got the experience, but I honestly think that he is so bad.
You don't think this line's a little ratty? Like Hooper, like I don't want to say household name at this point, but people definitely know who he is. Like he's had a little bit of a push, and he's still an underdog to this fucking old dude that can't win a fight. Like that's a little weird.
You're right, man. I think it's a litmus test. It's like if you can beat Steven Peterson, great, you can stay. If not, you got to go back to the drawing board for like 2 to 3 years before you can make a run at anything.
Yeah, I'm not betting this fight. If I had to, I would bet Hooper, knowing that there is a direct route to victory, aside from the other guy just completely sucking.
So you're betting Hooper?
I'm not betting. I didn't bet a single fight on last week's card either. I can't. I quit my fucking job. I need my money.
Hear you. But you can make the money, Matt. You can make the money. All right, moving on. Frivola was supposed to fight our boy Frank Camacho, but Camacho, God bless him, he's in a car accident. He's fine. He posted on Instagram. It was like a multi-car accident, so God bless him, he's fine. But Frivola's got the late replacement, Terrence McKinney, who actually fought Matt's favorite fighter, Sean Woodson, on the Contender Series. And Sean Woodson was losing that fight before he hit a flying knee on him. But since then, Terrence McKinney, he lost a first-round submission to Derek Minner. No shame there. Derek Minner's a one-round fighter anyway. But then he's on like a 2-3 fight win streak in the LFA right now. He's really good. I think he deserves to be in the UFC. But I gotta back the New York native guy here for Bola. I love the guy. He's a Spartan warrior.
I'm backing McKinney.
All right, Dick. All right, Alexis Davis never dies going up against Penny Kianzad. I don't have much of a pick here, but
who cares?
I'll take Kianzad. All right, Hakeem Dawodu, Movsar Evloev. We got the undefeated Russian going up against, I guess, the split decision king Hakeem Dawodu. Big underdog, plus 200. What do you guys think here? I gotta pick Evloev to win, but
me too. Dawodu's due for a loss. I went back and watched a couple of his fights. He doesn't do enough for me. He's very low output. He's always looking for the perfect shot. And Evloev's fucking good. And he's active. And he's good everywhere. I think he makes the fight miserable for Dawodu. And I think he continues to be undefeated. And I'm excited to see him back in there. He's just another one of those guys that very, very soon, I think he's going to be in the mix. I think this is his win. If he wins this fight and if he wins convincingly, you're going to see him get a jump up into the top 10 after this.
For sure.
Cool. I'm excited about it because I'm really impressed with him and he's really fucking good.
Evloev, you said.
Yeah, Evloev.
Yeah.
You can't ride these split decision guys for so long. When you're going to the split decision against Kyle Botniak, like, yikes. And then his last two fights were split decision wins. Like, you're skating on thin ice there.
Well, I'm just going to throw out the fact that Evloev's last fight was a split decision to Nick Lentz, but I'll leave you with that.
Sketchy because Nick Lentz is Nick Lentz, but
Nick Lentz was just jumping on those guillotines, and they were like deep for a couple rounds. And I think one of the two judges just saw that. Like, fuck, we'll give him the round. But yeah, I think Evloev's going to roll here. I think if he takes Dawodu down a couple times, it's going to be the beginning of the end.
Evloev by decision. I got a bet on the over in this fight. Lauren Murphy, Joanne Calderwood. Whoever wins gets murdered by Valentina Shevchenko probably. I'm picking my girl, Lauren Murphy. What do you guys?
I am too, and I'm surprised she's an underdog.
I think she's just tougher than Joanne. I mean, if Joanne shows up and then she doesn't, man. If you're gonna get decimated by Jennifer Maia the way that she did, I ain't betting you at chalk. Like, what the fuck?
That's what I'm saying. Dude. Lauren Murphy, for what she is at 37 years old, she hasn't lost a fight since 2018, and she's looked more impressive in her victory than Calderwood has. Like against Jessica Eye, that was her last fight, right? Yeah, I don't think she looked good at all. That fight was way too close. And Lauren Murphy finished her last opponent. And she's an underdog in most of her fights. It just goes out there and fucking performs. So I'm finally gonna hop off fading her like I do with Tybura and all these other people I don't like. And I'm taking Lauren Murphy here. I think this line is flipped on its head. I'll probably get burned by it because it's another rat line on the card, and I'm not betting it. I have to keep remembering that. But Lauren Murphy.
All right.
How's it feel to not be betting, Matt?
Dude, honestly, it did feel really good to just watch a UFC card and not want to bite my hand off.
I see Matt with like 4 fingers and all the way down his mouth.
I had a massive bet ready to go on Makwan, and I just didn't do it. And when they're reading that split decision, I said to myself, "This is why." This is why.
Dude, my heart beats through my chest when I watch big fights. Like beats through my and like, dude. Like, for example, when Weidman fought last, I'm not to harp on that fucking leg. He's actually walking around now, which is fucking wild. But when he's walking out, my heart's like beating through my chest, like nervous. Then I'm literally like moving weird and shit, sitting up when he's walking out and fight, and then when the fight starts. And then when that shit happened, it was such like an adrenaline dump that I was like, I got up and I had to like walk around because I felt like physically ill. So I couldn't imagine laying chalk like you do on some of these fighters, especially people I'm invested in, like what my emotions, my body. I would like not like fighting. You know what I mean? I would like, it makes me uncomfortable. There's times where I literally pray. I'm just like, I don't want to even watch this fight because if so-and-so loses or gets knocked out, like I have to sit here for 25 minutes on the edge of my seat. Like I wish I could just fall asleep and wake up and know the result and then just watch the fight. But obviously hoping it's a favorable result.
All the time, dude. I couldn't agree more with that statement.
Speaking of that, Chris, it's like I remember back in when we were in college and I was obviously best friends with Reed. And we would have parties every Saturday night, right? So it was hard for me to watch the fights and go to the party because I didn't want to miss out on the party. And Reed would be like, just turn the notifications off on your phone and we'll watch it tomorrow. And in my head, I'm like, you as a hardcore fan like we can't do that. We need to know what happens, when it happens, how it happens. Even though we don't watch it, I need to know what happens right away, like when it happens, you know?
Dude, I remember it was one of my buddy's birthdays. And we went to Atlantic City. Obviously got fucked blacked out. And it was when it was the tough finale when Mighty Mouse fought Tim Elliott. And I got drunk, passed out, didn't see the result. I was like, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow. I woke up like brutally hungover at like 5:45 in the morning and went to the bathroom to like start throwing up. And I'm throwing up looking at the results of the fight. And when you pull it up on Google, it has like a green circle over the winner. And on the bottom left, it says like the result. So in my like out of its stage, Mighty Mouse does have the green circle, but it says W decision 5 minutes, like decision win in green under Tim Elliott's name. I was like, what the fuck? So I went on the UFC website and I'm literally on my knees on the floor in the bathroom on the UFC website at 5:45 in the morning. Like, I need to know.
Need to know priorities, man. Priorities. All right, guys. We got some killer fights this is when it starts getting good. So Matt's favorite fighter, Eric Anders, is making a rematch fight over a controversial decision. If Herb Dean just stepped in a second earlier, a fight should have been done. But he lets people die sometimes. Matt, are you going to bet -150 on Anders this time?
I'm not betting, but if I was betting, I would bet on Darren Stewart just on principle. I would have to bet on Stewart. I have to. Like I talked all that shit, I lost. I have to do it again. Maybe I'll.
He said it.
He said it. Love it, man. Love it.
Dude, we went back and forth with that for a long time.
Dude, when he got hit, I was watching that fight, and the whole time I was just like, "Oh no."
Yo, also, it's at 205. It's not at 185 like the first fight was.
Oh, I'm not. Anders just gonna win this fucking fight.
Yeah, he's a big boy. So
Yeah, he's big. I didn't know that. Yeah, watch Darren Stewart will win now. No, but Anders should win this fight. We don't have to argue this one.
Drew Dober taking on Brad Riddell. I think Dober's gonna rebound here.
This is my top. If I had to pick like 3 fights I'm most excited for this weekend, this is actually in the top 3. This fight's gonna be fucking thick.
That's why it's headlining the prelims to get you to buy the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Great fight. Chris, you think Dober as well?
Matt, you're all over Dober.
I am, bro. As long as because he definitely has the advantage on the feet, in my opinion, right? I think he just boxes him up, bro. Dober's got some really, really slick boxing. He's powerful as shit. We saw that against Haparast. I don't put much stock in his last fight, mostly because I think Islam's going to be a champion and Dober's not. I just really like him. So I think he comes out here and, like I said pre-podcast, I think he's going to style on Riddell. Not to say Riddell's not good at all. He definitely a dog in this fight for sure. And the line's close for a reason. I just think Dober bounces back here. He was a little hot before that Islam fight, so I'm hoping he gets back on track.
I don't even think the Islam fight really hurt his stock. Like I think people were like, "Oh wow, he's got a huge ball sack. He took that fight, and no one else wanted to take." And I want to say stood in there, but he did not stand in there at all. He kind of just got beat up, but ate it like a champ. Clapped at the end, and just took it on the chin. Didn't And I honestly think like his stock grew just name value wise, and that if anything.
The big step up in competition from the Jamie Malarkeys of the world and Magomed Mustafayev, whatever the fuck, to
Mustafayev
to Drew Dober. Big step up in competition.
Also, think about this. If he never fought Islam in his last fight, he's on a 3-fight win streak with wins over Hackprast and Hernandez. I think he'd be a bigger favorite.
Yeah, definitely.
So, moving on. Paul Craig going up against Jamal Hill. I think Jamal Hill's got his real deal. I think he's top 5 potential. I think he's going to destroy Craig here. I think Craig is kind of overachieving at this point, but what do you guys
think? Not one of those little bullshit runs where he's beating people that he should be beating, but he'll face a guy like this and get put through the mat.
Right. Yeah, I think it's time. I think it's L time for Paul Craig.
Beating Shogun, who's 77 years old, doesn't really do much for me at this point.
Yeah.
Dude, his wins are so bad. Look at his wins. His past 3 wins. Shogun,
Love, who was about 30 seconds worth of a gas tank in him before he passes out.
And then Vinicius Moreira.
Horrible.
Brutal. All right. Yo, is this retirement fight time for Damian Maia, 43 years old, or I think Bilal Muhammad's about to put an ass whooping on him.
Muhammad likes to get up against the cage and mix in takedowns and grapple, man. I wouldn't be shocked if he played into Maia's hand here. He's not one to mixes it up too much. And I think against Maia, he needs to just keep it where it is and just box it out. But if he starts mixing up against the cage and Maia slips him on his back, or even Maia off his back, I don't know. I wouldn't be that confident in this one.
Maia. Sorry, Matt, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Maia said himself that he's basing his retirement off how he performs, basically. So he's going into he says he's been performing extremely well in training camp. He feels great, and he feels like he's going to win. So if he wins, he's going to keep the train rolling. But if he loses, he says he'll have to take a deeper look at it, and we'll see. What's the line on this, by the way? I mean, I think they're using Damian Maia to totally build Bilal. I looked at the Bellator lines. I have no clue what the UFC lines are.
For Bilal, 185 for Maia. I just wouldn't want to build Muhammad. I don't know why.
I mean, they definitely want to, and they definitely want to.
I mean, he's popular. He's got like a really strong fan base.
He's got a great personality. He's hilarious on Twitter.
Yeah, he's hilarious. I like him too. I like him a lot.
Me too.
All right, Matt, your boy Leon Edwards is taking on Nate Diaz.
Coming for you, Usman.
He fights at 170, 5 rounds, co-main. I just think that if Leon Edwards doesn't finish Nate Diaz, then dude, figure it out, man. Come on, you got 5 rounds to finish this guy who was relevant 7 years ago. Come on, dude. What do you guys think?
He's -600 for a reason. He was gonna finish Bilal Muhammad.
He's minus what?
He's minus 600.
Yeah.
So Diaz is plus 450.
I mean, I get it, but that's fucked up.
Leon Edwards is so big for this division. I think he's going to put an ass whooping on Nate, and I hate it because I love Nate. He's great for the sport, and you don't like – it's like Cowboy. You don't like seeing guys that are just like faces of the UFC start on that downward trend. But unfortunately for Nate, I think this is that time. You know, you're plus 450 for a reason. You're up against somebody who was just about to take Bilal Muhammad's head off until he poked him in the eye. He wants the fucking belt. I think he's hungry. He's big. And I think he's going to beat up on Nate. I don't think it's going to be a flash knockout at all. That's not Edwards' style. I think he pours it on up against the cage and gets a stoppage no later than the third round.
Yeah, I don't think it's going all 5, which is weird because
I don't know what the fuck just happened, boys. My bad.
the over-under, Matt, is 4.5.
Yeah, that's not doing that.
So, all right,
Did I just freeze? My bad if I just froze. I don't know what the fuck just happened.
you froze for a second, but it's all good now. You got dice. Go ahead, Chris.
Well, dude, minus 300 for sure. I get it. Minus 400, I'd be like, wow, damn, yeah, I feel that. Minus 600 is fucking wild. Wild. I mean, Nate is, everyone makes fun of him for being a 500 fighter. I think in his last 10, he is 500. But, he is still fighting. Like, dude, props to Nate Diaz for taking this fight. Like, he said, he always says, I want to fight the best fighters. I want to fight the best guys. And, I mean, he literally is.
He literally is, man. You got to give him credit. He will never retire. Didn't he say that? He goes, I'm just going to keep fighting.
No one can retire him, he said.
Feel that. Much respect. War Diaz.
This next one's so interesting to me, man.
All right, so I got a hot take on this.
My take here is I don't know what Moreno could do more, but I think Figueiredo could have a better outing. Weirdly enough, I think that Figueiredo at some point in that last fight, I'd have to go back and rewatch. I'm sorry, I'm not as pumped as I should have. Too busy watching fucking fights of Brad Riddell and Drew Dober. It looked like, if I remember right, in like the third-ish, fourth round, it looked like he was gassing a little bit, and then he picked it up again out of nowhere. I think he could stay more consistent over 5 rounds. Output is never Figueiredo's style. He's especially for his weight class. He's looking for the big shot, as opposed to Moreno's all on you all the time. First time we've seen Figueiredo really, really hurt, and if not being a long time, I'd have to go back and double check. But again, I think Moreno gave it his absolute best as a huge underdog, but I don't see what he does differently. Maybe I'm wrong. Mike, you said you have a hot take. What do you think?
Yeah, no, you guys know I love Brandon Moreno.
A lot.
I love him. But I considered Figueiredo to be like the Francis Ngannou of flyweight. Like, I don't think anybody's going to dethrone him. And the reason why in the last fight it was close was because of the point deduction. I think he won 4 rounds to 1 against Moreno. And I think it's awesome that he won the 5th round. Like, he won that 5th round. He dropped Moreno in that 5th round. He did what champions do. I just think he's too powerful, too strong for anybody at 125. And I'm pretty sure in the last fight, Figueiredo was 10-day turnaround. Remember, like 10 days prior, he beat, I think, Alex Perez. And then he's like, all right, stay in Vegas, cut the weight again, go into this fight. And he's a big 125-pounder. So I think that won him a lot. So if he comes in here with a proper training camp, proper weight cut, I think he's going to put on an even better performance and probably finish Moreno, which I don't want to see. But if we're talking straight up picks and what I think is going to happen, I think he's too much for Moreno. I don't think Moreno can handle it. And as much as it pains me to say it, I think he's going to finish him.
Yeah. How big of a favorite? I'm still just not over this. How big of a fucking favorite do you think Usman would be over Nate Diaz?
Over 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah. Well, if Nate Diaz somehow fucking wins, they'll book that fight before the end of the 5th round. You know what I mean?
Immediately, like that. Booked.
But this fight, I'm not going to reiterate what you said, Mike. I completely, unequivocally agree.
Yeah. Hey, I'm gonna be watching like this the whole time, man. Oh,
I know the feeling.
oh man, I'm getting anxious thinking about it right now. Thoughts? Anything? Last thoughts before we head on to this main event that for some reason I'm just not that pumped about.
Not at all.
I think yeah. Let's keep going.
All right, so what do you guys think, Matt? What do you think's gonna happen in this fight? I know you're a big Israel backer, so
I think it's going to be a predictable fight. I think that Vittori's game plan, and you saw it in his last couple fights, is clear. He's going to be looking for the takedown, especially if you saw how Adesanya lost his last fight. And I think Adesanya is going to have to defend the takedown. You look back at their first fight, I really think that was the only reason it was close, is because Vittori was able to mix it up more than he was. I think that Vittori's camp might be putting a little bit too much stock in what happened in Adesanya's last fight. Blachowicz is literally 2 of Adesanya. He's fucking huge. It was like Adesanya probably had to try. He was light to that fight. No, like he didn't even make weight. He was like really under, kind of, right? I'd have to go back.
3 or 4 pounds.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on fight night, Blachowicz was probably 20 pounds over. Like I don't think that Vittori is Blachowicz in terms of that. Like I think he's a better fighter, but there's a difference fighting at fucking 205 and 185. I think Adesanya is going to be fine. I think it's going to be one of his cleaner victories, and I think he's ready to snipe Vittori's head off and put an end to this little run. And I would go as far as saying, some may disagree, I'm just not the biggest Vittori guy. Don't really think Vittori deserves the title shot yet, but that's just me. You know, I look at what he's done recently. You know, you beat Carl Roberson, whoop-de-doo. You beat Jack Hermanson, okay, and you beat Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland, you look at the rest of the division. He missed all the killers. He missed everybody. Like, I would have liked one more fight here, but I think that's why I'm siding with Adesanya, and Adesanya is going to prove that. If there wasn't a split decision in their history, I don't think this fight's made. But nonetheless, I'm not that excited for it. I do love watching Izzy. I think his striking when he's on is an absolute spectacle, and I'm pumped to see it again in action, given that we really didn't get to see it against Blachowicz, but definitely riding Adesanya here.
Yeah, I'm not the biggest Adesanya fan by any means. I'm a fan of his technical ability because it's amazing to watch. But him as a person, like his overall aura shit, I'm just like so laissez-faire. Is that the right term? I don't even know, but I really just don't care, to be honest with you. I'm just so like blase, like whatever. I don't give a fuck about him. He's like overly cocky, and I get it, rightfully so. Good for fucking him. Like he is awesome. I guess I'm just a hater, but I'm not a big fan of his. Technical ability is awesome. Like what Matt said is a fantastic point. I think if the split decision never happened, this fight doesn't get made. Aside from the fact that Whitaker was delaying, and I think Vittori was just like, yes, obviously. And props to Vittori because he really did call his shot. He just kept saying, I'm going to keep winning and I'm going to get that fucking fight against Izzy again. And he did. He beat everyone he needed to do. He just says yes at the right time. Those are the kind of guys Dana White likes. When Jack Hermanson needed an opponent, Vittori took it on short notice and then clearly won the fight over 5 rounds, which is awesome on short notice. Carl Roberson, beef backstage, beat the shit out of him. And in his last fight against Kevin Holland, like I think he should have stopped the fight, but he, absolute domination
with him, Chris, that I missed is he's fighting, and we talked about this before. I just missed this talking point. And don't disrespect for him at all, but he's fighting the safe fight. He's fighting to not lose. He's fighting to not lose. He's not fighting to win. You should have finished Holland 110%. I haven't seen enough out of him. I don't know. I'm very biased here though, so I'm an idiot too. Don't listen to me.
I got 2 main thoughts about this fight, and one of them doesn't really hold weight because it's like the story narrative. It's like when you got these big fighters, these needle mover fighters like John Jones and Israel Adesanya, GSP, the legends, whoever it may be. It feels like the story isn't going to stop here. Vittori's not going to be the one to end Israel Adesanya's story. I don't see it happening. I think Israel Adesanya is probably going to defend it here, and I think he's going to defend it against Whitaker again, and I think maybe down the line he will lose or retire undefeated, whatever it may be, but I just don't think it ends here with Vittori. Vittori's not the one to do it. Number 2, I think the fight's going to play out like this. I think everyone's saying that he's going to go for takedowns. I don't see it I don't see it. I think Izzy's footwork is too good. It's going to be in the big cage too, so he's going to have more room to kind of go around. And everyone's saying that Vettori's going to win by takedowns. It's like he's not a takedown artist. He just happened to take down people that suck at defending takedowns, you know? So not saying Izzy's very good at it, but at 185, he's definitely I think he can hold his own. And do you guys remember that fight between Diego Sanchez and BJ Penn way back, where it's like all the hype was behind Diego going into that fight because he was just crushing it, and then like one head kick in the first round, Diego was basically just shut down and then lost every single round after that. I think that's going to happen here. I think Israel Adesanya is going to style on him in the first round. Vettori's going to kind of shut down and go into defense mode and then lose like a 49-46, 50-45, something like that. And it's going to be and still, you know. And I'm with you, Chris. I'm not the biggest Izzy fan. I do think that he's beatable in certain areas, like Jan Blachowicz obviously did, but I just don't think his story ends here. I think it's going to be a and still pretty clear cut.
Yeah,
Italian champion though. I'm not going to lie.
Cool. It would be cool. I just don't think he's it.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I think Izzy might just tune him up so bad, but Vettori's so tough that he could eat it for like 3-4 rounds and eventually just like nose busted up, gets hit again, and just, you know, body's just over it. Like not his mind, but his body just can't do it anymore. You know what I mean? Something like that. I could see that happening.
And I also feel like Izzy, when he's in game mode, I feel like he took Blachowicz a little lightly. And I think that I trust his mindset a lot. And I trust when he's on, and I think that he's amped up for this fight. I think he wants to put that whole split decision narrative to bed, that it was that close of a fight. I think he wants to blow Vettori out of the water. And that's what I'm hoping happens. Don't get me wrong. Izzy's not even like one of my top 10 favorite fighters by any means. I just appreciate how good he is at his craft. I don't like his antics. I think he's just as cringy as fucking Cejudo. But when he's in that cage and that door locks, he's the best pure striker on the roster, and I can respect that.
Yeah, man. Vettori's coming in with confidence, though, and I think that's a kind of a problem, though, because
I think Vettori would be stupid, though, to go in there and be one-dimensional.
His confidence is so high right now that as soon as he experiences a little, because I heard a stat, he lost his last 18 rounds, he won 17 of them or something like that, something absurd like that, which is great.
Yeah.
But confidence is so high, and then as soon as he loses a round or gets punched a certain way that he doesn't like.
But what if he can't land that takedown? Or what if he's
exactly? I don't think he's going to land takedowns. I think he might land a couple, but I don't think he's going to land nearly enough to win the fight.
Yeah, and he's no jiu-jitsu ace on the ground, so.
All right, boys.
Dude, over under. What do you think the pay-per-view guys are going to do? Give me a number. Give me a guess. I'm curious to see how big of a star Izzy really is, and I want to see if like New Zealand / Australia, like the Oceania district, backs him, or how big of a North American star he really is. Because I'm just doubting it, bro. I always gauge it off like, you know, casual fan interest. Not one of my friends has mentioned it. Not even the fact that Nate Diaz is fighting. Not one of my friends has texted me about this fight. Not a single person. Usually, even like some of my buddies from college will text me and be like, "Yo, give me 1 or 2 people you think are gonna win. Give me a pick. Nate Diaz is back," or like, you know, someone like when Cody Garbrandt fights, Cody Garbrandt's back, or, you know, and not a soul has said something to me about it.
350.
I was gonna say 4. So
I think less than that. Yeah.
Really? I'm curious to see. I hope you're wrong, obviously. You know, we want to see the UFC do well.
Yeah.
But I don't know, man. This is such a fucking big card. I think this currently is the biggest card of the year. Like, that's happened to date.
Besides the Conor fight.
Well, besides Conor, besides Ngannou and Stipe.
No, I'm saying the card as a whole, I think, is the most stacked so far. Like, the Conor card sucked. It was just Conor.
True.
That just 30 more days till the rematch.
Damn. Wow. That's crazy.
Or the trilogy, I should say.
Yeah.
We'll get into that when it gets there, because I feel like every episode we manage to veer off into that conversation. Because lightweight is just so easy to talk about. It's all your favorite fighters. It's the loaded division. It's so fun to matchmake there. Mick Maynard, just hire us to do all this shit.
Next week's episode, well, win or lose for Nate Diaz. Well, win or lose, he said he's fighting for the title next. That's a Nate Diaz quote. He also said he is the main event. So he doesn't care that he's not the main event because he is the main event, which buys 5 rounds. Anyway, I want to talk about fighter peg. I know we could go into it and it's take forever, and we crop this episode. So I want to see I want to see what comes out if Nate Diaz is getting pay-per-view points and like how fighters are butthurt over it. See what the pay-per-view does, and then we could go into the whole Cannonier and Paulo Costa thing that Paulo Costa pulled out because he's not making enough money, and they're seeing what the Paul brothers doing. Even Ngannou chimed in on it. So when the pay-per-view numbers come out and Nate Diaz, we'll see what he gets, or if we could figure that, if we could, an article comes out about that. I want to talk about that next week. We'll get into that.
Absolutely, because we tweeted it, and then we got a variety of responses. So
right. Cool.
Closing thoughts, guys. Nah, we're good. Chris is frozen. All right, see you all next week. Enjoy the fights.